everyone, it's Renee from Lovely Lavender Wishes. I have had a few of you ask me to do a tutorial on this centerpiece, my middle signature of my Steampunk Journal. It's this piece right here, the centerpiece. So today I will show you a tutorial as best as I can of this centerpiece. I don't have a lot of any more gears left or whatever, because I have been doing a whole bunch of steampunk journals and I was using up all my ephemera and pieces that I had left over from this journal. So we will do the best we can with what we have. So come along with me. I've also been having some issues, just to warn you ahead of time, with my phone. So if I all of a sudden pop off, we'll have to do part 1, part 2, part 3, and however other parts we need to go to. So hopefully that won't happen. But you know, it's Monday, and for some reason on Mondays things seem to happen around here, so we shall see what we can do. So excuse my sniffly nose, y'all. I have allergies. It's allergy season here. Trying my best to get through it. So anyways, okay, here's the middle piece. So as you can see, this was made out of a brown file folder. And I looked, and like I said, y'all, I don't have, I ran out of a lot of the stuff that I was using. I don't have another brown one, so I have a manila one. Manila file folder, which is the same thing except different color. So we'll deal with this one. But as you can see, I didn't cover the whole file folder. I like the brown because it matched the steampunk theme, but I just kept it brown. So just imagine that this is brown, okay? So the first thing you're gonna do, okay, so as you open up this middle signature, you can see it's just one file folder across. It's the length of one file folder. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get your file folder, and as you can see on this side, see here, I kept the tab here, kept the tab. It's a little bit different. It was a little bit different on the brown one than on this one, but you know. So you're gonna keep the tab on this side, and you're gonna cut the tab off this side. So let's grab our cutter. And y'all, I'm gonna try to do this as best I can. Sometimes when I'm crafting, I'm kind of learning along here again with you all. I'm doing the tutorial for myself. I have to look at my original to see what I did, because a lot of times I'll just be crafting along and I don't even know what I'm doing. I just kind of try different things, and whatever works. I'm like, oh, that worked, and that's how we're gonna do it. So I'm kind of learning along with y'all here as looking at my original. Okay, so let's see. So in the middle, as you can see here, I folded it in the middle. You fold in the middle, and then I also folded it. As you can see in the file folders, it's got the little, you've already got these grooves here in the file folders. So I counted 2 grooves over, 1, 2. And you're gonna fold right along the second groove. I would just say, this just gives you a little, like a mini spine here, so you can add things into your, your centerpiece. So since it's already scored, I'm just gonna fold along this piece the best I can here. Come on, we can do it. Okay, so here is your spine right here for the centerpiece. Okay, and then looking back at this. Okay, so of course this is longer. What you're gonna do, you can see this file folder, of course, is longer than your book. So you're gonna cut your file folder to size, whatever size your book is. So all I did at this point was measure. I kept this part with the tab, and I cut across the top however long I wanted my file folder. That makes sense for your book. So I'm just gonna keep it the way it is right now. Just keep it long like this. Okay, so the next thing you're gonna do is, you can see this piece folds up to, but not all the way into this line. sorry, I'm shifting back and forth. So here's where your crease is. You're gonna fold this piece almost up to that line. You don't want to go right up to the line because it gets jammed in there, you know, as you add things. Where's my scissors? So I use this instead of a bone folder sometimes if my bone folder is not readily accessible. But you don't want to get it just jammed up into that crease because when this is all folded and closed, it starts getting jammed in there. So you want to make sure that you give yourself a little space. Okay, and then this one, as you see, this flap does not go all the way into the middle. It's just gonna go maybe a little bit more than halfway. So I'm gonna fold it right about here. As you all can see, and as you've heard me on other videos before, I do not measure. I just kind of go with whatever, and if it doesn't work, we just go back to the drawing board and start over. So here's your piece now. So you've got an inside spine, you've got this piece, and then what I did on this piece, so I had some room and I had extra space to add more things in. I gave myself a little mini spine on this end, if that makes any sense to you whatsoever. So the little mini spine, I'm gonna score maybe, I don't know, like a 1/2 centimeter or a centimeter, just so I have another little spine. Let me grab the quickest scoreboard I got here. Oh, this is a mini one, but it's okay. So I'm just gonna kind of, you know, just a little bit over. I just want to have, let me see if I can. So do you see how much that is there? It's not even, this is my mini scoreboard. Oh, let's see here. If I would have cut this would have been. Again, not measuring, hope it all goes into each other. I'm not doing this too well, y'all. We'll see what happens here. Okay, so you're gonna do it better than me. There we go. So as you can see, now I'm giving myself another kind of like a little baby spine on this side. Do you see that? So that gives you a place that you can attach along the spine. You can attach your chain to, like this. And we'll get to that a little later. Okay, let me move all this. Okay, so you want to get your base done first. So that's what we're doing. We're establishing, getting our base done. So when this is all closed, it's going to close like this. Okay, just like this. Let's see. So you're gonna have it's gonna look like this. You see? Okay, so let's get our base done. So actually I am gonna cut this off. Yeah, let me cut this part off. It'll be easier to show y'all. So I'm just gonna go, I'm not measuring. I'm just gonna cut this down. Grab my scissors and finish it. I told y'all my, I should probably just cut this across with my scissors in the first place. My thing is getting dull. My blade is getting a little dull. Okay, so here you go. Does this look a little bit better? A little bit more like it? Okay. So this is the part that's going to get sewn into your signature, into your book. And this is going to give you a little extra room on this side, this little mini spine here to add brads to your chain. I would say, let me measure this for y'all. It depends how wide your chain is here. It looks like I went about 1/2 centimeter wide. It looks to be about, yeah, well, maybe a little more than 1/2 centimeter wide. So it just depends how wide your chain is and how big your brads are. But you want a little bit of spine here so you can insert them. So however big you want to make this spine. You don't want to make it too big because it'll just get even thicker in the middle here. So you got like a little mini spine on this side, a bigger spine here, so you can fill this up. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is you are going to add your sewn signatures in here into your spine. So you have your paper here. It's like back and forth. I need to move my camera back. Okay, so I sewed these signatures into the middle spine here. And I am running out of this paper. This is my parchment paper, so I'm gonna try to save that. So I just grabbed some regular copy paper here. So you're gonna take as many sheets as you want. On mine, I think I have 4 full sheets, so that's 8 sides per half signature here. So I've got 16 sides altogether. So 4 full sheets of paper that I put in. But you can put in as many or as few as you want. So you're gonna take your paper, you're gonna, fold it up, measure it, do what, you wanna make sure it's going to fit in this middle section here. So I'm gonna cut this down a little, and I also want it to be a little shorter, so I'm gonna, again, not measuring, just cut that down. You could tear this, you can cut it however you want. You can tear this down if you want jagged edges, whatever you want. And then this is going to go into this middle signature right here. Okay, and for those of you, okay, so for this project, let me close all this. So for this project, as you can see, I did a hidden hidden signature inside this. So it didn't show on the outside of the spine because I had this on my spine. So for the inside signature, how that works, if you want it hidden, you don't want your sewing to show. If you can see here, what I did, I don't know if you can't really even tell or see. Let me get rid of all this. Okay, so back here I have another cardboard piece, chipboard. So I have another chipboard for down the spine, and then on top of the chipboard I glued a piece of scrapbook paper, this piece of scrapbook paper on top of the chipboard, and it goes to about here. Okay, so it goes wider than the spine, and then before I glue it into the book, that's the piece that I sew all my signatures in. So for example, let's pretend this is a piece of chipboard. So I have my piece of chipboard here. I have my scrapbook paper glued to this, hanging over a couple inches on each side. And then I take all my signatures and I sew them into this piece first. So then I have like a separate piece with all 3 signatures in it. And then this chipboard, I'm going to glue into the book. So let's pretend this is the actual book cover. I'm gonna glue this chipboard into the spine of the book. So I'm gonna put lots of glue on here. All my threads are back here. So this glues into the spine, and then this piece of scrapbook paper glues over this to kind of help hold it in as well. And then on top of that, as you can see, I glue another piece of scrapbook paper or fabric or whatever you're going to do. If you're going to put folders in here or pockets or whatever, you glue all that on top of this. area. And then one on this side, so front cover and back cover. You could put fabric, you could put scrapbook paper, whatever. But that's how you can do it, where then on the back, you know, on the spine, you don't see any of your signature, sewn signatures in. That's like the hidden, that's how I do my hidden signature. At least that's how I did it on this one. Okay, does that make sense, y'all? Hopefully that makes sense. So I'll show you real quick how I do this. I'm not gonna measure, it's probably gonna be uneven, but just so y'all can see how I do this. So pretend now I have this piece, you know, with the chipboard and my scrapbook paper. So this wouldn't be here. It would just be like this. I would have a piece like this, and I'd have my, you know, holes all measured and what have you. So I'm going to go in the middle first. So it's going to go through this as well, you know, but I'm not going to do that. So just pretend I'm, you know, going through that. So I'm going to come up through that chipboard again and come up through, like I said, I'm not measuring this, so we'll see. Hopefully it'll, and I'm using blue thread so you can see it against the white here. So I pull this taut and then I go down to the bottom, and it's going to go through that chipboard out, and it's going to come back up through the middle. If I can get it through the middle. And this is the part I always have problems with. So for me, it's kind of difficult doing this, especially when I have a ton of signatures. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes not so easy. But okay, so I pull all this taut and tight. Oh, it looks like it went through. Looks like I went through the string here a little bit. There we go. Okay, so it comes through. Here's the middle piece that I started with. And usually what I do is I kind of take this through or under that first piece and tie this really tight. And I usually use, I use all different kinds of string, but for this one I used a wax black or dark brown string. So it kind of went with the whole steampunk thing. So I'll tie a couple knots in here, and then I have my string hanging, and then that's what you can use. Let's see what I did on this one. So here was my string. Here was my middle piece. Yeah, it was a dark brown wax thread I used. And then all I did for this one is tied just a segment, you can see just a segment of chain to each end. And I tied it, I had a segment of chain long enough so it would hang out the bottom like this through the book. And I did that for all 3 signatures. So if you look at my my flip through of this, I show you all 3 of those as we go through the book. But that's what I did here. Now you don't have to do that. You can add charms to this, let them hang, gears if you're doing a steampunk journal, what have you. Let's see, did I do this straight? Kind of did it straight as I could without measuring or testing it. It's a little crooked, but you guys get the gist. Okay, so there's that. Let me just pull this out. So there's your first signature in this. So you want to get the base all set. So we got this in the book. Yeah, you can see I didn't tie it. I didn't pull it tight enough here. But make sure everything's tight and it's all flush up against this. And, you know, usually I will measure this and measure out. You can see that, like, here, my hole is like 2 inches down here. It's only like ½ an inch. So normally I would make this a lot more even. You know, I would do probably 1 inch from the top, try to mark the middle, and 1 inch from the bottom. You know, make it all even. But this is just to show you how to do this. Okay, so there's your inside signature. So the next thing you want to do is add in your envelope. Now, sometimes, okay, before I added these papers in, I did stencil them first. Some people like to do that first and then add the signature in, or add it in, then stencil. So if you had your paper, you could stencil it now. It's not difficult to stencil right now, but I would definitely do it before you get it in your big book, because you know, it gets harder when you've got more things to that you're adjusting around and what have you. So you can stencil this before you put it in, get your papers already inked up, however way you want it, or you can do it once you get it in. Okay, so your next thing is you need an envelope. So let me grab my envelope. So this is the envelope I use, one like this. It's big, tall, kind of tall, you know, envelope. It had a flap like this in the back, but you know, it really doesn't matter what kind of envelopes you have. And as you can see, this is what I did with this. So all I did with this envelope is I cut this off, cut the top piece off. So there you go. Pretend that's cut off. You cut the top piece off like that. I'm saving this envelope, y'all, because I'm down to my last like 2 or 3 of these envelopes. And I need them for another project, so I don't want to cut the flap off. But just pretend the flap is cut off. You're going to cut the flap off, just like this. And then what you're going to do is stencil your envelope however you want. I stenciled the inside here and a little bit on the sides. And I stenciled on the back and the front as well. I didn't decorate it yet, I just stenciled. Okay, and then the next thing you're going to do is sew this into this part. Now, as you can see on this side, you do not see any strings or thread or anything showing through because I did not sew it through the file folder. If you can see here, there's a piece of paper back here. I took a little strip of coffee dyed paper, kind of again, just like this, take a strip of paper, measure, you know, just enough for your folded envelopes. You would fold this envelope, you would take a strip of paper, and I sewed it to that strip of paper. Same sewing technique as this. I came up through the middle, or actually I went down through the middle, so I had my string hanging through the middle, up through the top, all the way down, back around, and up through the middle. So then I had my 2 strings here. Okay, so exactly how I did this one. So down through the middle, around, up through the top, all the way down to the end, down, and then up, back up through the middle. And then my 2 ends meet here and tie them. And then what I did is I glued that strip of paper into or onto my file folder right here. So let me grab. So you're gonna have like a little strip of paper. This is gonna be sewn to that strip of paper, and you're gonna glue it here into your file folder. So this will be attached, but you won't see the strings coming out on this side. Hopefully that all makes sense. Okay, so just pretend this is that strip of paper. This is sewn to that strip of paper. I glue that in, and now this is secure in here, okay, with no string hanging out, okay? And then that is pretty much your base. The rest is all decorating. So let me see what else I did, because as I told you, I am all learning along with you. Okay, so you have your paper in, you have your envelope in. The other thing that you are going to want to do is get another little envelope, any kind of size, but the one thing that I will tell you, you want to make sure it is smaller. So as you can see, this one is not smaller. I need a smaller envelope. But you want an envelope that is shorter or smaller than this front flap, because you don't want it going over the flap or into the crease, because it'll constantly be getting stuck in that crease when you're folding. So you want a smaller envelope. Okay, you want something a little bit shorter than this. So this one's not. This one looks like it's almost exactly the same size, but I could tell you I would have a problem with that after a while. It's going to get jammed in that crease. This is the smallest envelope I have right now. Like I said, I am running out of supplies. So I'm not gonna put this one in, but I'll show you exactly how I did this. Okay, so you want to make sure that your envelope is smaller than this front flap, so it doesn't get jammed. Like this envelope here, you want it, see how it's shorter? You want it smaller so it doesn't get jammed in this little crease here, okay? So with that envelope, you have some options. I had these hinges available. There are a few different kinds of hinges. I have this one that does not have holes in it. See, this one had holes in it, so I could put a brad through it to hold it. So I put glue on it and a brad through it. And the brad came out on the flap of the, I attached it to the flap of the envelope. So you want the envelope flap to be opened on this side. So you want the envelope to lay like this, okay? And then you attach the other one to this one. So if you want your hinges to be showing, you want to get your decorative piece of paper, or however you're going to decorate this front flap. So this piece, you want to put whatever piece of paper or ephemera or whatever, at least your base piece down. So if you're going to stencil this, if you are going to glue an image on it or some ephemera, this was a piece of paper that I downloaded an image from Google that I printed out. So all this is a piece of paper glued onto here. So you're going to glue that on there first if you want the hinges to be showing. If you don't want the hinges to be showing, if you just want, if you have a plain hinge or you don't want something to be showing, you can put the hinge down and glue the paper over it. But I would say for the industrial feel, and because it's a little 3D, you probably want it on top. So glue whatever image you're going to put on first and then put your hinges on. Okay, so that's the first thing. You're going to glue this image on first. Then you're going to put your hinges on. Okay, you're also going to, again, on this, you're going to glue this image on first on your envelope. So what I did with my envelope is I cut it across, or actually this was one of those envelopes that was not a V. This was a straight edged envelope, and the opening came up to here. So, you can cut your V a little bit shorter, but you want to make sure that it covers your opening. So you can cut it, straight across, like right about here. This one was a straight edge instead of a V. So it doesn't really matter what kind of envelope you have. You can keep it a V, you can keep a straight edge, however you want it. The hinges work on either one, okay? But if you want your hinges to show, again, you're going to glue whatever image you want on here. You want to decorate your envelope. So you're going to glue the image that you want here. So this was, again, a piece of paper that I just glued on the flap. And then I attached my hinges. Now, since these are brads, you're going to put the brads in, and they're going to show up on this side. So I had, I think I stenciled my envelope first because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, so it was already stenciled. And then my hinges came through, or my brads came through, so the back ends of the brads were here. I didn't want them showing, so then I just cut out another piece of scrapbook paper and glued it on top. So this is just like an extra piece from here, glued on top to hide the brads. Okay. Now for this one too, the brads are going to go through onto this back, let's see, where the brads are going through onto this back piece here. So you want to put the brads through and everything through before you decorate the page, because then you can cover it with whatever, and you can cover your the backs of your brads. Okay. Oh my gosh, I hope all this is making sense, y'all. Okay, so once you get your base done, okay, you get the middle part sewn in. You have this envelope sewn in and attached. So this is sewn in and attached. You're gonna decorate this piece, and then you're gonna put your hinges on. So like I was saying, there's a couple different hinges. You have this one, so you would just put glue on this and glue it down and glue this, and you would glue it to your envelope right there. See? Or you have these little baby ones. I have a couple of these little baby ones left over. I would go for a bigger one just because it'll give you a little bit more support. There's also these kind of hinges where you have double holes. So you would put two brads in, And I didn't want to use those because I wanted to have the least amount of hole punches through this that I could. So I only had, I can't demonstrate this for you because I am out of these hinges, but I had these two left, these two hinges. So these were, these were hinges with one brad on each side, and I'm out of them. So I can't show you how to do them, but literally it's just putting a brad through the hole. Okay, so you're gonna put the brad through. The brad's gonna come out on this end, this side. And so that's why you don't want to decorate this yet, because you want to get your brads in and all that first so you can cover them up. Same with this. You don't want to decorate this side of the flap until you get your brads through. So you want to decorate this side of the flap first. So this is on top, and then get your brads through and then decorate this side so you can cover the brads up, if that makes sense. And then you can decoupage, you know, before you put your envelope in or attach your envelope. You can decorate it either before or after. I decoupaged this with a napkin, both sides, and I did that before I attached it. So I literally decorated this whole envelope before I attached it, except for this last little piece. And that's easy. So you can decorate your whole envelope beforehand, then attach it. So decorate this page, your envelope, and then attach your hinges. And then just put a piece, you know, you can put ephemera over this, or, you know, a piece of paper, whatever you want to cover the brads, backs of the brads, if you want. If you don't care if they're showing, that's fine as well. And then you can make whatever you want for the inside. This, I just made a small little mini journal. This was a piece of scrapbook paper, I rounded the edges, and cut some coffee dyed paper to size, and just inserted those. And I don't even think I sewed this. Nope, I used staples to staple this together, decorated the front, and then that inserts in here. So that is your base. That you got all the base pieces now. So you got your file folder. Okay, you have this page decorated. You got your this piece hinged in. If you want to hinge it, if you don't, you can washi tape it in. You can glue this flap in. You can either glue the flap, let's see, where's that? You can glue the flap to this so it flips like this. You can glue the flap to that page so it flips like this. You can, you know, glue it down like this so it flips open like this, and then decorate this page. So if you don't have hinges, don't worry about it. You can glue this down first so it'll hinge open like this, or you can glue it down like this so it closes and hinges open like this, whichever way you want. So if you don't have hinges, it's no biggie, just glue the flap down. But you're going to want to do that first then before you decorate, because once that's glued down, then you can put pieces of paper over this and glue it, and then you'll hide the flap, if that makes sense. Okay, so got your base down. So here is where we're at. Here's where we're at. This is your piece. Okay, so I didn't decorate any of this until let me see. Yeah, no, I did this page separate, and then I glued it in once I had this whole piece in the book. So I did this page separate and this page separate, and then once I had this glued in the book, I took it and just glued the whole page to this. So I'll show you how I did these. Okay, so this front page, this is going to be this part of your inside piece, this part right here. Okay, so for this, now all the rest of this is decorating. So it's super easy. This was done, this is the only piece of paper I have left from the Junk Drawer. So I showed you all how I made this paper. I embossed it. I stained it with, let's see, Pearl X powders, copper and gold. So I stenciled it, I embossed it, and then I stained it with Pearl X powder and gold, copper and gold, and let it dry. So I show you how to do this on my video on how to make the cover page. because I did the same technique for this paper right here, the front and back. So all I did was do a variety of pages like that, papers. So I did some copper pages like that. I did some brown pages like that. And I did some gold pages like that. So I just did like a whole batch of all this paper. I made my own paper for this journal. And so all this is a piece of that paper that I made, brown paper. So I just cut it out to fit this flap right here. This was an image from a Tim Holtz scrapbook paper book. This was an image off, I wonder if I got this off Google or if this was another scrapbook piece of paper that I just fussy cut out. It might have been a scrapbook page that I just fussy cut it out. And I glued that onto a piece of chipboard. So you can see it's a little bit raised, this piece right here. Okay, so all it is cutting and gluing. Okay, so this is chipboard. Like I said, I don't have any more gears, so I can't show you. Like I can't do this step by step because I don't have a lot of the ephemera left over. But all this was, just so you know, step by step. I glued a gear here for his eye. And to do the monocle, let me grab what I used. Let's see. I think it was this. Yes. Ink Essentials Glossy Accents by Ranger. Ink Essentials Glossy Accents. I've had this for years. All I did was squeeze this into the center of the gear and let it dry. So that's all. That's how I did all the monocles in here. So I glued a gear on and then put that on. And then I just took another gear once this was almost dry, because I jammed the gear into that the clear glossy accents. And so when it was almost dry, still a little wet, I put this gear on and I attached a chain to this gear and had it go down and attached a brad here, and then the little extra piece of chain I let hang down right there. And so all this is just a bunch of gears just layered on top of each other and glued on. That's all that is. So it's just a lot of gluing. And then the brad goes through here onto the back of this side. So again, I did not decorate this side yet until I finished this page because I knew I was going to have a brad going through. And actually, now that I'm feeling it, it didn't even go through. I just put the brad through this chipboard. Sorry, y'all. I'm learning. I told you, like sometimes I do this, I junk journal, and I don't even realize what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So I'm doing a how-to for me too. So you put the brad through the gear, through the chain, through the chipboard, and then I just put it just through the chipboard. That was it. Because I don't think it would have gone through the chipboard and through this all the way to the back. So I just put it through the chipboard. And then glued this whole image onto this paper. And that's it for that. And then for these, again, I don't have any more of these. I only had 2 of these, and they're both in this book. So you can find any kind of closure you want. You could do, a post closure, you know, those like the little things that hook to a post. I had these little hinges, and all I did was take the same string that I've been using throughout this journal. It's a brown kind of twine. Tied it here. You can see that. Just tied it to there. And at the end of it, tied a gear. Little gear to it. And then this just, you know, hooks through here and closes. So you can hook it across and it closes. And that was my closure. So all I did was glue these on and let them sit overnight to make sure they were like really solidly glued on there. You know, I had a clip on them, holding them, and make sure they were there. So again, this whole thing is just a lot of just decorating and gluing. And then I just put some gold accents, you know, painted some gold accents with my gold accent paint. And that's it for that cover. Okay, and then on the inside, again, same. It's so easy, y'all. All it is decorating. So on this flap, your inside flap right here, all I did was have some copy dyed paper. I had a little piece of ephemera, so I just cut it so it kind of fit this flap part. I stenciled it, inked it, and glued it in, and then put a little piece of ephemera here. this is a big folder, and I just glued it. So again, you don't have to worry about anything going through the back sides. I glued the 3 sides, cut this, you know, I had all this cut out, glued the 3 sides, and then you can make whatever kind of journal card that you want. Here I decoupaged a steampunk napkin that I had. Some people have been asking me where I've been getting these napkins. I am part of a napkin exchange group on Facebook, a few of them, and so I just exchange my napkins for other ones that I want and vice versa. So that's where I got these. I don't know where they purchased these napkins from, but I did get these through an exchange, a napkin exchange. And so all I did was decoupage this to one of those gold embossed pieces of paper I had. And then the back I just stenciled and just measured it out so it all fit in this big folder. And this was an image that I just downloaded, let's see, off Google, I think, or I had, it was either off Google or it was a piece of scrapbook paper that I had, steampunk scrap paper. Like I said, y'all, I just use what I have around the house a lot of times. Okay, and then this, again, this is your, so this is where your folder's gonna be on this flap. Here's your paper. Then on this flap, and you don't have to do it my way. You can do it whatever way you want. You can put whatever you want in here. You can do flips. You can add other envelopes. You can add belly bands. You could add folders, whatever you want. Little tuck spots. But on this piece, all I used was one of these sheets of brown paper that I had embossed and stenciled. And so I just cut it out and glued it. And then I had this other piece of paper that I just glued down to make a belly band. So this is a belly band, it goes through. So I just glued the 2 sides down. So it's a belly band. And then 2 pieces of ephemera, just glued there. Okay, and then you can decorate your envelope that you have here. So all this was another image I fussy cut out, a piece of that paper, another piece of the gold paper, steampunk words. That was from, I think, some images that I downloaded from the Digital Collage Club that I'm a member of. And so I just cut that out. So you can just decorate this page however way you want. You could put a folder here, you could put a tuck spot here, whatever. I just glued. This is all just an image, so it's just decoration. And then you can make whatever kind of cards you want, journal cards you want for these folder areas up here. So I just made these, but super easy. And then since you have these and they're open, you can tuck whatever you want in them. So you can measure a piece of paper, or you don't even have to put anything in there if you don't want to. I just loved this image, so I just tucked this in here so it gives you a little bit more space to journal or whatever on there. So you can do whatever you want with that. And then on the back again, I had all these, just these different images I had. And so I just figured I'm going to use what I have. So I put those down. I just glued all this down, kept this part open so I can have a tuck spot. And then I just made a journal card. And again, here is one of those images I got from the Digital Collage Club. And this made a little journal card. On the back is coffee dyed paper. Okay. And then this page again, it was just a coffee dyed piece of paper that I just measured and glued on. So this is journaling area. It was a little piece of ephemera that I had. And then the same with this page. Just glued on another piece of coffee dyed paper, stenciled it, and another piece of ephemera. So the rest is all just decorating. So once you have this part down, it's just decorating each little panel however you want it. Okay, so let me see. Let's make sure I went through it all for you. Okay, so that's the front. Okay, now the back piece. Now this, like I said, I did all of this separate on a piece of paper. So I had another sheet of this brown paper. See this brown paper? So I did all of this on the side, okay? So I had a big piece of brown paper, and again, I show you how to make this paper on my how to make the cover part. And again, it's just gluing after that. I had this piece, this image from either a scrapbook paper or an image from Google downloaded that I printed out. So I glued that on. I attached 4 eyelets just through, this brown piece of paper. I attached this gold embossed piece that I just cut out, again, from, this gold paper or one kind of like it. Just cut that out, put 2 brads there. This was an image I had as well, and I just glued it to a chipboard piece and cut it out and inked it. So you have a little bit of 3-dimension. And then this was just a piece of paper glued on. Piece of paper glued to chipboard, again, so you have that 3-dimension. And then the next thing I did was I put in 5 eyelets, and I show you how I did this on my husband's cover video. So 5 eyelets and then a piece of string, and I just wrapped the string through here, tied it on the back of this brown piece of paper. And then the last thing I did was add the gears. And if you can see on the gears, they do have some metallic paint on them. These were silver gears. I had a lot of silver gears left, and so I wanted some copper and gold metallic paint on them. So I just painted them and let them sit overnight so they would dry. So that's why they have this kind of look to them. So you can, you can distress your gears however you want, but they were like super silver and I didn't want that color, so I wanted to distress it a little. So I just painted, and let them sit overnight. So I doubled up on a couple gears, put the brad through the chain right here, let it hang down, double up on these gears, put the brad through, and then I let an extra long piece hang down, and I had this little butterfly that I just attached with a jump ring, so you can see there, and that hangs below the book. So once I had this whole piece done separate, once I had this all attached in the book, so this will be attached in your book, this piece. I just took this whole piece that was already, done, and just glued it to the side. I just glued it here, and that's it. So you don't see any of the brads, any of the eyelets, anything through this, because it was all done separately, and it's all on the back of this brown piece of paper. And then this whole image was just glued on really good to this back piece. So that's how I did that. And then your very last thing you're going to do is on your little spine here, on this side, I just took 3 brads. So took 3 brads right here, 1, 2, 3. I took a piece of chain, so I inserted the brad through the chain here. I pulled it taut and tight and put the brad through here, pulled the chain tight and put the brad through there. And then on the inside, I didn't even bother, as you can see, I didn't even bother to cover up the brads, the backings of the brads. Because it's steampunk, it's industrial, you can see those, I didn't really mind. So that's what you're gonna put on your small spine area that's sticking out here. And there you have it. I really, really, really hope that all made sense. I know I didn't do it step by step. Hopefully by doing this part, you can see how it all goes together. This part hopefully showed you how I do my signatures, how I insert my signatures. And then I showed you how I do it where you don't see it through the spine. There's a lot of YouTube videos out on how to do hidden signatures. This is just the way I do it. That seems to be the easiest way for me. And then here, again, you're gonna have this envelope folded and inserted right here. And then this envelope will be on this flap. So this is going to be closed right here. Here's your front part. This envelope will be right here. But again, you don't have to put it there. You could put it here if you want. You could put it, on the inside of here if you want. Wherever you want to put it. There's no set thing. I'm just showing you exactly what I did for this center signature. So let me show you it again so you can see. here's the finished piece. So here's the cover. This opens up like this. This opens up like this. I have my hinged envelope right here. This opens up. So this whole thing is just one file folder. Then I have my sewn in envelope right here. So I have 2 spots for journal cards. This folds over. I have this with a belly band. Then inside I have my little journal space with my signature, with my inserted signatures, strings with my chain. I have a big folder here with a big card, journal card, and then more place to journal. So this all closes up like this, like this, like this. And then you can use whatever closure you have. This is just one I had, and I'm out, so I'm gonna have to get more of these. And I just kind of curl that through there. And then this is the side part, and this is the back part. But I really hope that helped y'all. Thank y'all for joining me. I know it doesn't, sometimes you really need to see it step by step by step, but unfortunately I don't have a lot of the pieces left over. I mean, and all it would be is you just watching me cutting out pieces of paper, gluing them, cutting out another piece of paper, gluing them. At least this way you can see how I put it together. Hopefully by watching this video, you can kind of look, and as I explained it, you can kind of work along with me, because not all of us have the same stuff anyway. So if you don't have the same ephemera or the same pictures or the same pieces, you're going to be digging around your place trying to find something that'll work for you. So at least this will give you an idea of how I put this together. So if you want to make something on your own and make it your own and maybe do something totally different, but you know, maybe with the same kind of format, you can do that as well. So anyways, hopefully that helped y'all. Thank y'all for joining me. I hope you have a blessed day, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.